Yo, it is so sad when you understand what's happening, like you understand the tactics that are being used to defend blatantly bad games. It's sometimes you're at a loss for words, right? Because they could have just been silent on this. Like PC Gamer, Kotaku, and all these, like, they could just shut the fuck up and let people hate on the game, but they're not. They're actively trying to defend the game that's happening, or the situation that's happening to a game that 100% deserves the criticism. Like, and okay, what's happening isn't review bombing. Like, people are playing the game and just saying the game is shit. Right? This is what's happening. Like, they had 30, 40, 50,000 concurrent players, only to lose about 80% of that within the first fucking day. And people are just saying the game is bad. Like, this game right here is shit. Well, no. Highguard doesn't deserve a chance. So don't kill it out of spite. No, we absolutely will kill bad games. Like, bad games deserve to be shat upon. Like, it's not rocket science. Like, this game was just bad. Like, again, let's think of it. Highguard, Overwatch. Like, they try to do some goofy play on words, so that it's obvious they were trying, to make this game sort of like a clone. But they have absolutely nothing that made the first Overwatch appealing, which is something I don't understand. Like, I get it. It's difficult. Like, the people that are in these sales teams, they do care for, like, odd social things that, you know, don't actually make games good, but they're being forced internally to have these things. So again, you're not allowed to have pretty female characters, period. Right? Some try to impose LGBT stuff in the games, and initially people didn't care until you made them care, until it was added, like, without respect for the player or the IP or, genuine relationships. It was thrown in specifically to find the sexist, racist, whatever brigade. So, and again, and spite is a legitimate grievance. Like, again, spite is something that's built up because no one wants to give the gamer, the person who works for a fucking living, probably has kids, and then they're like, what, I'm gonna play a game with what little, like, time I have in a day. But then you play the game and it's just bad. And you need to express that, right? Because, you work for a fucking living, like these quote unquote chuds that people say exist, the people that live in their mom's basement. It's like, nah, those motherfuckers grew up and now they have lives and kids and jobs and responsibilities. And with whatever little time they can scratch together, they want to play games, right? I mean, the type of people that, again, an entire vernacular that it just came into being just to describe just normal fucking people by the very people that absolutely fit that description, right? You notice that, right? Because I don't really care if a game comes out that's bad, but I do care if you make me care, and I do care if there's an active push and an active demand on the consumer, on the market to accept these games and to pay you money and to pay them money to put food on their table for just legitimate bad games. Like, if that happens, I absolutely do care. And now I'm against you. So because of that, I will be actively involved in the downfall of bad games, right? Because games journalists has just been led so many game developers off a fucking cliff. Like, what games journalism is supposed to be is like what is that thing when you inject a small portion of the virus into a horse and it attacks it almost immediately with the white blood cells, and then you extract that? That's how vaccines are. An inoculant, I think. Yeah, like, games journalist is supposed to be an inoculant between the consumer, the gamer, and the games. But in every situation, you see bad games getting hyped by these journalists, and legitimately good games getting completely kneecapped for no other reason than maybe some stupid little thing came up, some stupid little social thing came up, and they believe that's justified enough to attack the game. And mostly I believe this is going to happen to indie devs. Like, it's already happening to a game that I want to do another video on, right? There's just these odd social things that are just manufactured, and then article after article after article, almost 30 minutes to an hour within each other, are just parroting the same talking point. While games like Highguard, you get shit like this. It's like, Highguard deserves a chance. No, it doesn't. It's made by devs from Concord, and the game was so bad they had to remove made by devs from Apex Legends and Titanfall 2 off the game because they're getting flack, and people are bombing other games, right? And again, this is the only way the consumer's voice is heard, right? And Jeff Keighley, to be fair, is just memeing on it, right? But I think what Jeff Keighley did was a good thing, hyping this game up. That's just bad. Because everyone was expecting Titanfall 3, right? But then they got this, just another boring hero shooter, and people act like, the market's tired of hero shooters, and that was cope to defend Concord. But Marvel Rivals and, what was that, X Defiant, I think it's called, what was the Valve hero shooter? Those were popping the fuck off, literally as those articles were rolling out. So, games that are doing what the market wants as far as hero shooters are succeeding, while games like Overwatch 2 and Concord are shitting the bed. And, okay, who do the game journalists side with? Oh, they look at the games that are just blatantly bad and be like, oh, well, I guess no one likes hero shooters. Instead of looking at Marvel Rivals and being like, okay, so if you want to make a hero shooter, this is how you do it. Highguard has gone from one controversy to another announcement. Since its announcement at the Games Awards, from this award reveal to the developers being weirdly silent until launch. Yeah, and that's the thing. They tried making this thing under the cover of night until Jeff Keighley was like, yeah, this game's coming out. And people were like, Okay, this game looks bad. Like, I don't know what it is with just this bland style. Like, you can do this good. Like, again, Marvel Rivals in the first Overwatch did this style well, but, yeah, I mean, you need appealing characters instead of just generic, and that's the problem with a lot of the characters. They just look generic. Right? You know, above the fact that it's a 3v3 in maps that, you know, you could easily run a 6v6, 7v7, 10v10. Like, these, to be fair, they were big maps, and but there was only a 3v3. And okay, I guess the game's free, but how many people do you think are buying cosmetics? Because that's kind of the business model here. You have a free game, and people enjoy the game and buy cosmetics and throw you money. Like, it's a psychological tactic that works. Hell, it worked on me, right? So how many people do you think cosplaying this character or any of the other characters in this game? A not insufficient number of people immediately wrote it off, calling it dead on arrival. The next Concord, if you will, yeah. And, you know, it's unfair, right? But the market's not fair. Like, so many times, they tried to control the market and crush dissent of bad games until the market's like, okay, fine, we're just not going to buy it. If it even looks bad in your presentation, and again, that's reasonable. Like, I absolutely judge a book by its cover because the presentation tells me immediately if you care for it or not. If you don't care for the presentation, then you expect me to care. Again, you know, people work for a fucking living, and if you want me to give you money, you gotta make the presentation and every aspect of the game towards me. And who do you think is the demographic of hero shooters? I mean, I can tell you what the demographic was of the first Overwatch. You might not like my answer, but I mean, we already know it's young guys that found the female characters hot, and they bought the game and played the game, and okay, the game had interesting mechanics, so some will min-max characters. I was a Roadhog and Junkrat main. But that happens after the initial presentation. If you can't even get the presentation right, I'm going to assume you're bad. And I think that's reasonable, seeing that if you want my fucking money, you gotta make the product, the game look like you want my fucking money. Unsurprisingly, frankly, unjustified hate, or of the very concept of Highguard being a game that exists has gone on to plague its launch. Despite pulling nearly 100,000 concurrent players on Steam, are currently sitting at incredibly low 33, mostly negative. If you ever played a truly terrible game, a real 33%, then you'd know Highguard is far from that. Who the fuck decides that? Like, not you. You don't decide that, PC Gamer. It's the people that played the fucking game. Like 100,000 concurrent players, that's a good amount of people. I mean, it's a free game. But, okay, if you sold the game for what? $20, $30, $40, like, that's a decent amount. Even though if Steam takes a third of that, and if it's a good game, you would just gain. Like, again, it lost all, like, 80% of that within the first couple of hours. I can understand why people have been so quick to judge. Highguard is an awkward hodgepodge of genres that was poorly unveiled and a sharp departure from the developer's pinch penchant pinchant. Am I stupid? That's a weird word. For movement shooters. I, for one, wish he had a spiritual successful to Titanfall, and Highguard isn't that. However, Highguard deserves his fair shot for its own merit, and that's what the people who played the fucking game gave it. Unfortunately, it's bad. Everyone wanted a Titanfall 3. Why can't we get a Titanfall 3? It's like, you know what the consumer wants, and you actively give them the opposite. Well, if you keep doing that, if you keep quote-unquote subverting people's expectations, like they're just going to assume failure at that point. Like, I don't understand this business model of not giving the consumer what they want. And I don't know, it's like this odd, like, dull, like the colors in here are dull with the exception of like the mission, which is shot to hell. I don't know, like I remember Overwatch kind of being very flashy, and a genre fusion isn't slick, but it is interesting. I can't say I've ever played anything like Highguard before. Well, then you've never played hero shooters or shooters, period. Like, okay, maybe there's 1 or 2 or 3 different mechanics. I'll give them that. There might have been like a new mechanic, but that doesn't make this a completely different game. Even if all the Brits are inspired by other games. Are you really hating on Highguard for being generic copy-paste? That's being a generic copy-paste. That's not trying anything new. Yeah. Like, yes. Like, nowadays, like, this isn't rocket science. Like, you know what the consumer wants, but you're actively trying not to give it to them. Again, first time's a coincidence, second time's an accident, third time is enemy action. We're on like the 50th time this is happening in the games. At this point, people will just write shit off, just off the trailer. Like, I've done so with Wolverine. Like, I've completely written off Wolverine. And it's like, oh, well, it has its violence. It's like, okay, that's not difficult to have the violence and the grittiness. I mean, I care for the story. I care for appealing characters. You know, and Insomnia has this bad habit of shitting on both the characters and the story and using consultants for their story. So you're telling me there's not a single creative person in that company? I mean, if there was, they would make new games, but they're not. Zarkam recently, it's like Marvel Rivals and even Arc Raiders, to an extent, haven't faced similar criticism. That's easy to say. Marvel Rivals, hot female characters, Arc Raiders, interesting, you know, so game, like survival gameplay. You know, it's kind of half survival, half hero shooter, and it has mechanics that people like. I don't really know the story. And again, Arc Raiders is kind of going through sort of an interesting situation, but people are giving it a chance. Like, why are we comparing 3 completely different fucking games? that okay, we can argue is the same genre. I don't know if I consider Arc Raiders to be the same genre as Marvel Rivals. It's more of a survivor shooter, but whatever. I haven't faced similar criticism. Again, I already said I love these games, but let's not pretend they've reinvented the wheel any more than Highguard. Because it's almost like you don't have to reinvent the wheel. I mean, if it spins, well, the problem is Highguard's not a wheel. It's like a square, like an oval. A very ugly, misshapen oval that goes nowhere. And I guess it can kind of function, but it's not what people want. But Morgan and I going on Dead on Arrival and review bombing that into reality. No, again, we're not we're not throwing things into reality. We're just simply saying, again, people who've played the game is voicing their complaint. And me, someone who wouldn't have cared for the game anyway. I mean, I don't have a review. I'm just shitting on it in video format. Yes, Wildlight Pet Project will inevitably die, even if developers claim it doesn't need super huge player count to be successful. Well, and again, with this mindset is why just bad games exist. You should want huge player counts for a game that took time, money, and effort to make. You should want as many players as possible. Like, this isn't, I don't know if I consider this to be an indie game or an indie studio, because it has a lot of dominant developers and people from other projects on it, according to Jeff Keighley. And again, like, I'd say if Jeff Keighley didn't say a fucking thing, maybe this game wouldn't have been shat on so much. But again, to put this game on such a high pedestal, only for it to be yet another generic hero shooter. And then again, you gotta understand, this is a generic hero shooter. It doesn't do anything. And at this point, you know what the consumer wants in hero shooters. So to make something like this is absolutely an offense. It's like, what the fuck is this supposed to be? As it stands, it's far from perfect, but sacrificing it for fun isn't helping anyone and removes the opportunity for Highguard to build on its foundation. Like, again, the foundation has been set by other games. Like, why are we acting like, again, and this is what journalists will do, right? They'll act like they just don't know what the consumer wants. And it's like, to be fair, the journalists absolutely do. They're just doing the opposite. But they're telling game developers that, like, these things, and we don't know what they're saying behind the scenes. But we do know what happens to legitimately good games if it runs afoul of games journalists. Like, they find whatever they can to shit on the game. Like, this happened with Stellar Blade. Again, a game that was critically acclaimed. This happened with Black Myth Wukong. Again, another very good game made by just some dudes in their mom's basement. And now there's another Black Myth game coming out that I'm absolutely going to play. You might not like it now, that's fine. I don't even love it. But maybe you would later down the line in potential future. No. If a game, like, at least for me, if a game's dead on arrival, you already lose me. Like, No Man's Space is that game that just lost me. Even if it's good now. I mean, I'd rather play games I know are made by developers who understand what gamers are doing or what gamers like, as opposed to just generic, out the gate, uninspiring, unimportant, bland. And then, oh, well, they'll make it better later. Oh, yeah, didn't they have like a whole year plan for this game? Just to fillet the investors? I bet they're just throwing that out the fucking window, huh? Voice valid criticism and let things play out, whether you love it or hate it. These are valid criticisms. People are voicing valid criticisms of a video. Again, a visual medium. If the visuals in the medium is bad, you failed. I'm making a video game. I haven't made one yet, but I think I've played games in the past. Why are we acting like we don't know the benchmark of good games? And no one's asking for you to reinvent the wheel. People just want something different, right? Maybe a different or darker story, better looking characters. I mean, why are gacha games doing this, but multi-million-dollar games are not? Like, it's not like the art is lost. This is an active refusal to give the consumer what they want. Review bombing sends a bad message to the industry, and that will backfire for everyone. No, it won't. It will backfire for bad games. It will tell devs, no, this is not what we want. Make a better game. You understand what the consumer wants and do it. Like, the gamer benefits for this game's failure, because it just tells the industry, nah, games like these are bad. And you know games like these are bad. But for some reason they put money and effort into this game anyway that they knew was just generic. But anyway, oh my god, there's comments. Roy has made the fatal error of playing way too many live service games at once, and somehow still finding time for everything in between. Sure, he's an expert at Destiny 2, Call of Duty, and more, but at what cost? He even sunk 1,000 hours in Elder Scrolls Online over the year. At least he put all those hours spent grinding. At least he put all those hours spent grinding challenges to good use over the year as a freelancer and guide editor. In his spare time, he also an avid game video creator, often breaking down the environmental design of his favorite games. If you can't track him down, he's probably lost in a cave with a bunch of dwarves shouting rock and stone to no end. What the fuck? Huh. Review bombing doesn't help anyone. Yeah, it does, and will make an example out of Highguard. Yes. Make gaming great again. Yeah. Dude's name literally is Concord too. No, review bombing helps keep slop like this off the market, which helps everyone that is a consumer. Again, you're saying words, you're saying things that the people who don't fucking play games could, I don't even know if they could understand, but I guess it's just for people who just agree with you anyway. They don't actually care for gaming as a hobby. But for people that actually fucking play the games, it's like, this is what, like, no. Review bombing bad games that are actively bad do help. No, I'm good. It's not Spot. I'm utterly sick of hero shooters. I want custom characters, otherwise I will spend my money on games I know are good. Not take a chance on yet another hero shooter I won't enjoy progression in because heroes are utter garbage as a concept. I mean, and again, this is also fair, right? You can have people that are just sick and tired. Like, people are sick and tired of, like, I don't know, battle royale games because, like, 90 of them came out of nowhere. And you can have people that are just tired of hero shooters, you know. Nothing to do with spite. It's to do with not wasting my time on an awful game, on awful games. No, y'all are better than me. To me, it absolutely is spite. Like, for the longest time, they just refused to take, again, the word of the people that put food on their table. And what you get are games like Highguard because they actively refuse to adhere to what the consumer wants. So for me, it is spite. Equating this game to Marvel Rivals and Arc Raiders is, I think, intentionally missing the point. Marvel Rivals stepped into a market in gameplay and attractive art style that Blizzard has mismanaged and abandoned with Overwatch 2. The people were hungry and Marvel Rivals fed what those people were looking for. Holy shit, Arc Rivals, like Baldur's Gate 3, has had a long development period alongside players to cut what wasn't working and refine what was. At one point, it was a completely different game in early betas. I suspect this is the development models of the future. Highguard doesn't deserve a chance. It's a completely confused mess in an eagerly saturated market. The message players sent to Concord, now Highguard, is stop making slop. This is no love letter to FPSs or whatever. Let's be real. This is a quick cash out that should have been pulled the plug early on. Yes. Absolutely agree. I like it. It's not amazing, but it's pretty fun. I don't think I'll continue to play it though. Yeah. I mean, it's a free game. I mean, if you don't really lose anything, but you gain for just having it die, just letting it fizzle, just aborting the baby. But anyway, that's all I gotta say about this. Stop making slop. That's what people are asking. Like, games like this is what's going to make, like, games being made by AI. Like, AI could probably make it's almost like this game was made, like, conceived by AI. And how blatant and boring and generic it is. Which is a shame to the developers that I believe actually put time, money, and effort into. But I mean, that's just the way it is. The market's not fair. But anyway, peace.